All right, let's start our talk again. Because I bet you didn't hear a thing because I didn't put this back on. All right, so let's see. I'm going to confer with Joycelyn, who was telling me that she couldn't hear for some reason. Can you hear now, Joycelyn? Joycelyn, can you hear now? I guess not. Can you? And let's see, because if I'm not being heard, then I need to um, get started again. Hmm. Hmm. All righty. Okay. Um, Joycelyn, can you hear me now? I feel like an old Verizon commercial. Hello, hello. Okay, let me check over here. Okay, I am not streaming either. So I'm going to come back in 1 minute and figure out what the issue is. So Joycelyn, come back in one moment because I don't know what the issue is either. So let me just check one thing. That is so weird that you can't hear me on Zoom. I do not know what the issue is. But since you did come into the Zoom, if you want to watch it on Facebook, I would not object because I want everybody here to be able to hear me. Okay, so stay on Facebook. Beautiful. All right. All right. So here we go. Let me see. So let's get started. I do want to share something with you, share something else with you right now. And so let's get our PowerPoint started and let's go back to the beginning. Here we go. And tonight I'm welcoming you to Elemental Alchemy, Unlocking Your Creative Power with me, Dee Savoy. You saw a little bit about me in the beginning, even if you couldn't quite hear it as well. But I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. Um, I am a womb priestess, a an author, a writer, and I have a distinction between those two because an author I think of as writing novels, and a writer is nonfiction. So I do both aspects. I've been a healer, a coach for a very long time, and just mastering this technology is kicking my butt sometimes. So I'm very glad to have you with me tonight, and we're going to continue without any more technical difficulties in just a moment. All right, so here we go. So the first thing I want to do is show you our agenda for the evening, which is the welcome and the opening ritual. The part one is the four elements of creativity. We're going to talk a little bit about each of those elements. we are going to take a small break if we need to, and give you some reflection time on what we've done so far. Then we're going to come back for part two with the creative feminine and womb energy. And we're going to do a creative activation exercise to really rev your creativity. Okay. And now, then I'm going to have a small offering for anybody who's interested in really deepening their creativity, through a small program that's only 3 weeks. You'd have to dedicate like forever to it to get results, but it is very powerful and very exciting. And then we will come back for final blessing. So, how does that sound so far? Okay, beautiful. So, hang on 1 second. I just need to bring up our agenda for the evening. So, you know what I like to do at the beginning of any workshop is to take a few deep breaths and disconnect ourselves from our everyday. I definitely need to disconnect myself from the days that I've had today because it's been very exciting. I think I'm a little overstimulated from my week. And so just take a deep breath in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. One last cleansing breath in and out. And now I'm going to share a little bit of smoking energy here. This is my yoni spumoni that I have in my cauldron. I can just help clear the air, clear our bodies, our energy bodies. Here we go. And thank you, thank you, thank you. So as we said tonight, we're going to enter the sacred art of elemental alchemy, where the earth grounds our vision, the air expands our mind, the fire ignites our passion, and the water moves our emotions into whatever art form we truly desire. And as a womb healer and creatrix, I'm not going to try to teach you how to think creatively. What I really want you to be able to do is to feel your creativity, to embody it, and to breathe life into it. Okay? So now that we've let go of the energy of the day, I want you to take your right hand and put it on your womb, and your left hand and put it on your heart. This creates an energetic circle between the masculine and the feminine. And we need both for creativity, as we'll see in a little bit. Okay? So we're going to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. And with that big breath, we're going to clear any heaviness, tension, negativity, anything that we're feeling that we want to be able to let go of finally. And we're going to repeat a mantra to ourselves. This is our mantra. I am a creative vessel. I honor the elements within me. Let's say that again. I am a creative vessel. I honor the elements within me. I am a creative vessel. I honor the elements within me. And one of the things that we really want to talk about tonight are what are those four elements and how do each of us resonate with them? Because we're not, even though we all have all four elements within us and that we all have all four elements at our disposal, we don't resonate with all of them the same. we don't necessarily feel connected with all of them the same. So, for example, I'm very much a water person. And it may be because I'm a Scorpio and that's a water sign, but I've always resonated with water. In fact, my nickname as a child, don't tell anybody I told you this, but my nickname as a child was Waterworks because anytime anything sad came on TV, I had to cry. If I saw anybody cry, I had to cry. I was very much connected with that water aspect of the emotions in myself, and so I'm very deeply connected with water. Now I'm not as deeply connected with fire. Okay, fire is passion, fire is courage, fire is forward momentum, right? But I don't really resonate with that as much as I do with water. And maybe it's because I do resonate so much with the divine feminine, and fire is a more masculine element than water. So let's get into our four elements. Let's start with air. Air is ideas, inspiration, imagination. Air is the breath of spirit. And air is the element that we start with. Whenever we're trying to cleanse something, we start with in the east. And why is that? Because the east resonates with the air. That's the direction. We call this the four directions, right? And the direction of air is east. East is a place of the rising sun, is a place of newness, new ideas, rebirth, rejuvenation. Think about east and air being reflected in the season of spring. And what happens in spring? Everything that is old, that had died out during the winter, is new again. Everything is in a restart cycle. And so this is the resonance of air. Think of it, you could also almost think of it as conception, like the conception even of children. You know, new concepts, new ideas, new things that are being brought into fruition at this time. Okay. And, you know, air is also so amorphous, right? We don't really see air. I mean, or we're really not supposed to see air. I was in California for a while in the 90s, and we definitely saw the air then, but we're not supposed to see the air, right? We're supposed to be able to see right through it. We're supposed to be able to breathe it in without obstruction of chemicals that are not supposed to be there. But air, just like water, must be contained in something in order to have shape and sometimes even to have power, which is why when you think about, say, think of a twister, right? Very powerful natural event. But it's not just like you have a whoosh of air. It makes a column. It has a form. It has to form a shape in order for it to be powerful and very, very deadly as well, right? So some of the practices that we use when we're thinking about air are breath work, right? And we want to really think about what we are inhaling and what we're exhaling at the same time. We want to be able to breathe in things like clarity, love, new ideas, love and light. Okay. And we want to be able to exhale things like doubt, imposter syndrome, anxiety, or tension. We want to be able to let those carry, the air carry those things out of our body. It's an energetic conduit. And one of my teachers from long ago, unfortunately, she passed away long ago, used to say, the deeper the breathing, the deeper the healing. So the more you're able to breathe down into the body and to even visualize the breath that you breathe in, traveling to whatever part of the body healing is needed, the more strongly you can do that, the more strongly you can heal yourself. So our breath is so important to us. Think about air also having to do with our mental body. You know, we have four bodies: the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body, right? And air resonates, okay, with that mental body. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking about? That's when we always talk about air and concepts and ideas and imagination, right? This is all tied up together. Okay. So we have that mental body that surrounds us, our energetic part of our energetic body that surrounds the physical body. But we also have an air center in the body, right? And that is the heart center. The heart center is where we have our lungs, or that are the apparatus for our breathing. So we do have an air center within our body. So we have one outside our body, we have one inside our body. Okay. So it's very important to keep our airway flowing. And that, you know, sometimes when you are stressed or anxious or not knowing what to do, sometimes the best thing that you can do to receive more clarity is to breathe. Okay. So now let's get into fire. Fire, as I said, represents our passion, our courage, our forward momentum, our direction. Fire is that spark that says, yes, I'm going to do this. I can do it. I can move forward. Okay. Um, but we have to be able to really resonate with the fire. Okay. Um, and by that, I mean, we have to honor fire. I think a lot of times people can be very timid or afraid of fire because it is such a potent force, but we need to embrace that as well. We need to understand that we have all kinds of fire energy around us. And without it, we could not survive because we have fire in the sun. If the sun were to disappear tomorrow, human beings could not survive without the light, the heat, and the vitamin D and the other things that we get from the sun. We would all perish. Okay. Um, Fire is also very important to cultivate in ourselves because it's that action principle, right? Fire is also in the direction of the south. So that means it brings a lot of heat, a lot of light, because in order for anything to show light, it must have heat. Okay. The two of them go hand in hand. So when you think about the South, we also think of summer. And in summertime, everything that blossoms and blooms is in full bloom. Everything is at its peak of creativity, which is why I love to do this kind of workshop, this kind of work in the summer, because it is naturally conducive to our creativity. We tend to have more time in the summer because maybe we get out of work on Friday early or not. Well, we don't have to attend at all, right? Or we're in vacation mode. So maybe we want to go someplace warm and sunny um, and absorb some of that heat and light and direction and um, and whatever from the sun, right? So we need to disconnect from the idea that fire, when we see it, is just about what burns. Okay. Because sometimes we need that burn. We need, you know, every one of the four elements can clear energy. If you've ever heard of the word crucible, right? A crucible is a container in which a very hot fire can burn to purify metal. And so sometimes we need that kind of, purification through fire that will clear everything and make everything pure again. And in fact, I don't know why I didn't put one over here. Let me see if I have one. The book that we just finished working on is called Through the Fire. And it's about women's courage and resiliency and about how we can all come through that fire better, stronger, less afraid, and more capable of living the life that we desire to live. Okay. And so we can ask ourselves that, what would we do? What could you do if you were truly brave? What would you do, right? Or what could you accomplish if you let fear go and let bravery, and then bravery is different than courage. It's a subtle difference, but courage comes from the heart. Courage is a French word, and core means heart, right? What you find in the heart. So that it's, kind of that heart energy. Now, the fire center in our bodies comes into our solar plexus. So when we're talking about bravery, we're talking about a kind of intestinal fortitude to see our way through whatever is standing in our way, right? So it's not the same as that kind of heart-centered energy. It's really all more about self, bringing yourself forward, exposing yourself, maybe even being a bit vulnerable there. What would you do if you could summon all your bravery? What would be the thing that you would do to move your life forward? In some ways, that's like asking, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And this is maybe a little bit more like, what would you do if you refuse to allow yourself to fail? Even though I truly believe in creativity, failure is an option, but that's where the bravery comes in feeling as if because you said you could do it, you will. Okay, now we get into water. And as I said, water is my element. Water is the womb. It is memory. It is emotion, right? It is our tears from both joy and sadness. Okay. Now, water resonates with the direction of the West. And the West is all about flow, about ease, of abundance. It's also connected with women, the energy of the divine feminine, but also the energy of just the average, everyday feminine woman. Okay. And one of the things that I really love about this time of year is that it's also connected with autumn. So there's a certain level of maturity to water, a certain level of being able to be reflective about water, to be reflective about our lives, to be a little bit more introspective, deliberately introspective when it comes to water. And that it's not just, we kind of have different levels of emotions. And when we think about those surface emotions, that like kind of a maudlin kind of emotional overlay, where we have very shallow emotions of pettiness, of jealousy, of things like that. And then deep emotion where we find great connection with other people. And so we really want to dig down into those deeper layers of emotion and connectedness. And I think this is one thing that I really love about the idea of water. It's not just surface level, because on the surface level, there's all these waves and ripples and different things that can seem as if they are truly important. But when you really dig a little bit deeper down into our emotions, we really have a deeper flow, a deeper connection, a deeper correlation with abundance, a deeper correlation with the idea of flow and ease, and even a deeper connection to the waters in our own bodies. And literally, water is the womb. That womb center, the sacral center, is the water center in our body. So if you haven't noticed, we've gone from air to fire to water, moving deeper into our body. And then we get to, guess what? We get to earth. Okay. Now, earth is our foundation, it's our structure. Okay. It is the container in which everything else exists. It is our physical body, right? And so we have, as we said, we have the physical, the emotional body that goes with water, the spiritual body that goes with fire, and the mental body that goes with air, right? So this this represents our physical body, this earth element. Okay, the earth is all about not just the soil that is our topsoil, but also our feelings of belonging, where we can really sink deep into that earth energy and feel as if we are being embraced by Mother Earth. Okay. And along with the earth, we have a lot of rocks, minerals, crystals that many people use in order to control or focus energies, right? So the earth energy um, also resonates with things like bones, with the ancestors. And so all of this is tied up together so that the earth energy really is structure. It is ritual, because ritual is something that we do over and over again, seeking similar results. And also our roots. Where do we come from? What peoples do we come from? Who are our ancestors? Who are the people that came before us? So those are basically the four elements that exist not only in our wider world, they exist within our physical body, they exist within our spiritual body. And as we're going to find out, they exist in one more way within us. Okay. And we're going to be talking about that in just a few moments. So I'm trying to look and see if we have any um, comments, but let me just turn the sound off here. Okay, there we go. Okay, I can see. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. I can see everybody here. Okay, so what I would like to do now is just to take our little stretching break. So before we get into the second part of what we're going to talk about. So if you want to get some water or some tea or a journal, because we're going to be asking some questions that we want to answer maybe by taking a minute and writing something down. So if you, we're just going to take until 7:35, until 7:40, and then we're going to be back. Okay. That was interesting. Excuse me. It was so interesting. I don't know why something started to play for that. Interesting. Took me a minute to find what was playing. But we will be back in 1 minute. Okay, everybody. I hope you were able to get a drink of water. Get your notepad ready. And let's move on. So now we want to talk about the creative feminine and wisdom, right? Because I said that there is another place, a fourth way that we connect with the four elements in our bodies all the time, right? And so let's get into that a little bit. The fourth place where we connect with all four elements uh, is our creative epicenter, which is our womb. The womb is, many people think of that only as a procreative place, but it's also our creative center in our body. It's not just a biological space, it is a spiritual portal, a creative drum, a deep feminine voice. And when you're disconnected from her, you'll find yourself blocked, stuck, or scattered. And when you feel connected, everything flows. Okay? So we want to make sure that we are in deep connection with our wounds at all times. Now, that may not always uh, feel as if it is possible. We may feel sometimes that we are not in contact with one element or another. So, for example, as I've said before, I feel very connected with water, and for some reason, the what started to play while we were on the break was a talk I have given on water. So I guess I am very much in the flow of water right now, as the womb is our water center, right? So we want to be able to connect with all four elements. And as I said before, it doesn't mean that we need to connect with them equally. You know, I could resonate more with water, not so much with fire, not so much with air, but definitely more with earth. You may have a different combination of elements that helps you function. But the idea is that we need the elements to be in flow and not in stagnancy, right? Most of the time, when we think of dividing up a whole into parts, we think of it as being equal parts. And that's not necessarily what we need. We need to be able to rely on each different element when we need it and have other elements take a step back when they are not needed, right? So we want to think of this womb energy. I like to think of it as like an engine. If you have a car engine, it has a lot of different parts. It has air in the exhaust system. It has water in the different fluids you have to put into the car to make it run, right? It has fire, which is the ignition, the battery, the gasoline, to the point of that's what burns off through the internal fire of the vehicle, right? And we have earth, which is the physical um, car itself. We have all four of those things in the engine. And that's the same way that we have all four parts in our womb engine, our womb energy that provides creative input and output for whatever it is we're doing. And is one of our greatest intuitive centers as well. Okay. And the womb is, I wouldn't say a magnet, but a receptacle for all types of our inspiration, our ideas, our dreams, and sometimes things like our grief, our sadness, our disappointment. We tend to have all of those things collect in the waters of the womb. And sometimes it makes it very difficult for our engine to function when we've got a lot of stuff in our womb that we really don't need to have there. The same way we talked about the air being polluted and not being able to be as effective as it could be, we see the same thing with water. That when we have stuff in our water that is harmful, is unnecessary, is a blockage or a stagnant, then we don't function as well as we could. We don't have the right amount of flow or abundance or even intuition working for us. So we need to have our womb clear. And one of the things that we can really focus on, and it's something that I'm going to be focusing on in coming in July, is the idea of resting and receiving. And I'm going to be making some posts. All my posts in July are going to be focused on self-love and self-care, because I think that we women are so used to doing everything for everybody all the time that we don't give ourselves enough rest. We don't allow ourselves to receive. It feels like weakness to allow ourselves to just receive from others. And this couldn't be further from the truth. Because when our lives are functioning at their best, it is when there is flow between ourselves and others, is when there's a flow between our creative output and what we are nourishing ourselves with. So this is something I feel very strongly and passionately about, and I will be working on with you guys all of July. Okay. So what I'd like to do is to do a very, very brief meditation just to get us connected with the proper wombage. So I'm going to ask you to take your hands, both hands, and put them somewhere on your lower belly with the intention of sending energy to your womb. And just take a moment and see if you can feel the energy of your womb, the pulse of your womb as you inhale and exhale. Just normal breathing. We're not going to do any of the deep breathing in and out, just normal breathing. And feel into the energy of your womb. And then I want you to take the energy of your womb and send it downward, down into your pelvis, down into your hips, your thighs, your knees, down into your legs and your feet, down through the floor of where you are into the earth, through the layers of crust and rock and shale, down to the center of the earth. And when you send your energy all the way down to the center of the earth, down to the womb of Gaia, she will send you warm, loving, kind energy back to you. And for a moment, allow those two energies to mingle together. And now bring them up from the center of the earth, through all the layers to the crust, up through the soles of your feet, up through your calves and shins and pelvic bones back up into your womb, and allow these two powerful energies to mingle together for just a moment. And if you feel called to, now might be a time to take a breath outward and release any tension or heaviness you're feeling at the moment. And then continue to bring this energy upward, up through your body, up through your chest, through the crown of your head, and beam it upward toward the ceiling of the room that you're in, up through the building that you're in, out into the atmosphere, into outer space, to the center of the cosmos, to the Hunabku, which is the cosmic womb. And when you send your energy to her, you will feel her cool, clearing energies. And just take a moment to enjoy this energy being sent to you. And now bring these mingled energies back through the cosmos, through outer space, through the atmosphere, down through the roof of the building that you're in, back into your crown center, down into your body, down into your womb, and let all three energies mingle there together. And now that all three of these energies are present in your own womb, just take a moment to think about how this makes you feel. And if you want, if you would like to, you can take a moment to write down anything you'd like to remember from this experience. Okay. But we are not done with our womb exercise yet. So for a moment, I would just like you to continue to put your hands on your womb, but figure out where the top, where you feel the top of your womb might be, and concentrate uh, your energies and your thoughts and your consciousness at that top. They call this the fundus. There's a fundus among us. And so, as we were discussing before, the top of the womb resonates with the energies of the East, which is why we start there. We start at the top of our womb. To bring in greater energies of creativity and creation. So this is going to be a little bit longer meditation where we're going to touch on the four elements inside our womb. And then we're going to connect with the center of the womb, which is really the void, the most creative aspect of our womb. So here goes. I want you to imagine yourself in a beautiful place in nature. Some place with a lot of green grass, a lot of beautiful trees, Maybe you hear some animals in the trees or in the grass, but it feels like a very safe and powerful space. And I want you to look around where you are right now. Maybe just take a twirl around and look at all of the beautiful plants, trees, grasses, flowers that have come forward for you right now. And remember that if you are ever looking for a beautiful place in nature in which to be safe and meditate or contemplate anything in your life, you can return to this space whenever you desire. But now take a notice that off to the right is a beautiful mountain. And you feel it calling to you. And you oblige. And as you walk toward this beautiful mountain, you notice there is a set of crystalline stairs that are embedded in the side of the mountain that make it very easy for you to climb to the top. And as you're climbing to the top higher and higher and higher, you may even pass a cloud or two until you reach the top of the mountain and look out. And all around you in the distance, way down in the valley below, you see all the beautiful possibilities of what you could call into your life right now. And you can ask yourself, what is something that I would like to call into my life right now? Something new, something exciting, something powerful, maybe something you've put off for a long time and thought maybe it wasn't really possible or it wasn't right, or maybe you shouldn't have been the person dreaming that dream. But now in this high place where you can hear the call of eagles and see other high flying birds in the distance that have come to support you. You are ready to dream that dream now. And so, whatever that dream is for yourself, hold on to that thought, hold on to that idea, hold on to that concept so that it can continue to grow and blossom for you. Don't just think about it momentarily, but allow it to continue to take hold within your energy field, allowing the dream to become more solid, more achievable, more doable. But then you look over to your left and you notice there's another path going downward. And you take that path, still holding on to the energies of the mountain. And you notice that as you're descending, that down at the base of the mountain is a beautiful bonfire. And as you keep descending, you keep feeling more and more and more of its warmth. pervading your body. And the closer you get to the fire, the more you recognize that is just giving you energy and strength, courage, and the feeling of saying yes, of the possibilities that you've been dreaming about on the top of the mountain. And that feeling of motivation, of purpose, continues to imbue into your body as you dance around the fire, or maybe even in the fire, because this fire will not burn you. And allow this feeling to rise from the soles of your feet to the fire in your belly, to the crown of your head, down your arms, to your fingertips. And just enjoy the dance for a moment. This beautiful energy coming up for you, emboldening you, making you braver than you have ever been before. And now, tiring from the dance just a little bit, you notice that off to the right, there is a beautiful crystalline lake of beautiful water. And wanting to just cleanse yourself in the water a little bit. You don't stand by the edge, you jump right in, and you find yourself floating lower and lower and lower down into the water. And as you sink lower and lower and lower, you hear the sounds of whales and other animals beneath the waves. And the coolness of the water winds its way through your entire being. But rather than quenching the fire within you, it instead gives you emotion. It gives you an intuitive idea or an intuitive hit as to what you can be creating in your life right now. You feel connected, not just with your own emotions, but with spirit as well, knowing that you are divinely guided and protected in whatever it is that you do, knowing that you are divinely loved in whatever it is that you do. And even though you are way below the surface of the water, you can breathe and you can move with ease and flow. And eventually, you tire of the water and you seek to find that grassy space on the land once again. And laying down on your back in the grass with your arms spread wide and your legs spread. It feels as if the earth herself is enveloping you. allowing you to sink deep into her soil, to relax, to feel the presence of small animals around you that may even whisper a message to you as the earth reminds you, you are here, you belong here, you are valued here, you are worthy here, you are enough here. And that whatever dreams you have, whatever creative ideas you wish to bring forward, you are supported, you are cared for, and you deserve to have whatever your desires are come to fruition for you. And as you rise from the grass, and maybe brush a few blades away from your clothing, from your skin, you notice that right in front of you is a beautiful cavern, a cave that you didn't notice before. And there's a light coming from inside the cave, but it's not like a flashlight or a light bulb, but something glowing inside the cave. And as you walk inside the cave, you feel destined to come into this cave because you know there is something in the cave waiting for you. And as you walk into the cave, you realize that the glow has been coming from several gemstones and golden and silver objects in a treasure chest at the center of the cave. And you know that whatever gift that is for you is within that chest. It might be on the surface, you might have to dig deep to find it, but you will know it when you find it. And so, with either opened eyes or closed eyes, you reach into the treasure chest and pull out the object, the gift that is meant for you. And you can look at it for a moment, see what it is. If it is small enough to put it in your pocket, you can put it in your pocket with gratitude for the gift being given. And you may know why you were given this particular gift. You may not know why, but you do have permission to take it with you as you return to that same space where you started out, the place that you can return to if you wish for meditation, contemplation, or simply finding a place of peace. Thank this place that has come forward for you. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. Okay. If you want to take a minute to write down anything you wish to from your experience. Please do that now. Okay, if anybody would like to share any what they've experienced during the meditation, you can go ahead and do so. I think it would be better to do so on the Facebook. Um, yeah, it might be better to do so on Facebook because not sure if people will be seeing things in the Zoom meeting. Okay, so now we're going to move on. Um, and unfortunately, because the Zoom meeting is not working. Oh, what happened to my glasses? Falling off. Zoom meeting is not working as planned. 1 second. I'm just going to do something else, but since the Zoom isn't working as planned, we're going to skip that. So we're going to end a little bit early today. I hope that's okay with everybody. Um, so here we go. What I would like to do, and this is, I guess I'm going to give everybody this as a homework because we're not really able to share it in the same way because of the Zoom not working. But here's the prompt that I would like you to work on from after connecting with our wombs that way. And here is the prompt. From the center of my womb, I now create dot, dot, dot. Now, I really want you to work on this with no editing, no judgment. Okay. I think sometimes we, um, even in a workshop, which is meant to just be, um, free flowing, we still want to edit ourselves and we want to not just allow things to flow and just be. Okay. And what we're trying to do here is just do the exact opposite, is to just allow ourselves to be creative without judgment, without editing, or without anything else. We just really want to be able to enjoy creating. Okay. Now, does that mean that when we're focusing on a prompt, that the only way we can answer it is by writing? Absolutely not. You can sketch, you can paint, you can color, you can do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, as long as it is in response to the prompt. Because I'm a writer, but not everybody's a writer. Some people are singers. Do not ask me to sing. I love to sing, but you know, for your own safety, don't ask me to sing. But respond however you want. Make it yours, because that's really what we're focusing on here. So I'm going to tell you the prompt again. From the center of my womb, I now create dot, dot, dot. And I hope everybody realized that the cave in the meditation was a representation of um, of that center of the womb. The center of the womb is like the void, like the what we call the Aditi, the center of the cosmic womb, where anything is possible. We know that if we can think about the most creative thing that we do, in our lives, that is dreaming, because our dreams do not have to conform to the logic of our everyday life. It can rain up. You can be an old man one minute and a puppy the next minute in your dream. You can see people who have passed on in your dream as if they were still living. Anything can happen in your dream time. And so this is really the crux of our creativity. And that is that when we want to be our most creative, we need to tap into that Aditi, that center of the womb. The womb doesn't even have a structure the same way that the other aspects of our womb do. The top of the womb is the air. The right ovary is our fire. The left ovary is our water. And the base of the womb is our earth, right? So each part of our physical structure does have a role to play in our creative energy. But that center of the womb, that cave, is where anything is possible. And that's why when we went into the cave, all we saw was a beautiful glow, but we needed to find the thing that was for us. And if anybody wants to put in the chat, what was the object that they received from the chest, I would really love to hear that. If anybody got something really special, I would love to hear about that. So moving forward, I also hope that you will do this little exercise from the center of my womb. I now create, because that's our most creative part. Okay. So now I really just want to tell you a little bit about this program that I have out right now that I hope you will feel connected to and want to take part in. It's a very powerful program. And I'm going to tell you that it's the program that I do that I'm kind of the most proud of, because it really does resonate with what I really hope to bring to you guys the most, which is unleashing your creativity, unlocking the creativity that you have, because creativity isn't just for creative activities, but for creating the life you love, creating the life you deserve, creating the life you desire, and doing it with a sense of purpose, with a sense of clarity, with a sense of strength, and really being able to just dig deep into the life that you really want for yourself. So here goes. I'm gonna share this. Well, first let me unpin me. Let me see if I didn't remember how to do that. Let's see. Uh, Anywho, let's share now. Come on, let's share. And where are we? Okay, here we go. Here we go. And we're just gonna move down a little bit to here. I don't know why you're doing that to me. Ah, here we go. Okay, so here we go. This is the final thing that I would like to share with you tonight. I want to introduce this offer to you to see if you are something that sounds like you really want to participate in, and that is to explore our 3 most creative energy centers. Now, I did mention earlier that our womb energy is one of our most creative centers, but it's not the only one. It's not the only one. It is, to my mind, our most powerful one, but we also have 2 other creative energy centers. Okay, so the program is called Cracking the Creativity Code. And you can see here our three most intuitive centers. We have the third eye, we have the heart, and we have the secret womb. And so the point of cracking the creativity code is to connect with your creativity in a deeper way than you ever have before. Through meditation, through movement, through contemplation and active work, you will explore our three sources of imaginal intuition and how each of these sources connects with the three intuitive centers of the body. The 3-week do-it-yourself intensive covers 3 topics. The first one is meeting your muse. The second one is stalking your story. And the third one is breaking out of your box. Now, the first one, meeting your muse, if you're not familiar, the muses were 9 sisters who were daughters of Zeus. They were demigoddesses, actually. And they inspired creative people toward creative aspirations, such as poetry, singing, music, poetry, all aspects of creativity. Now, when we think of a muse, a modern day muse, our muse can help us in not just what are considered creative endeavors, but in every aspect of our lives. Our muse can serve as a goddess advisor to us to help us create whatever we desire in our life, not just our creative endeavors. And so through meditation, we go to the Temple of the Muses. You may meet a muse that is a formal one of the goddesses. And I say that, with air quotes, because actually the muses started out as three sisters. Then they got to be 5 sisters. Then they got to be 9 sisters. I guess they always had to have an odd number. But they developed over time. So the muse that may come forward for you may not be one of those classic muses, but a demigoddess or a goddess that wants to work with you to help you fulfill your potential in all ways. The second aspect is stalking your story. And this is an idea that was taught to me by shamanic teachers, the idea that for every story there is to be told, and we're not necessarily talking about a story that we write or a song or whatever, but the story of our lives. When we are telling the story of our lives are just like any book. When you talk about having main character syndrome, you are the main character of your life, of the story that you're telling with your life. And it is said that for every story, that story is not only something you seek to tell, but a story that may be stalking you, that may have picked you to be the teller of this tale. And so when we go in and we talk about stalking our story, it's about not only our own tracking of the story we should be telling with our lives, our own destinies, but what animal allies may want to go with us and help us track the story that we seek to tell, or the story that has already been stalking us and we have not picked it up yet. And I think if you have been feeling like there is something you want to do in your life that you have put off, or maybe you felt like, who am I to do this? Who am I to create something this wonderful? Who am I to do this? And you don't recognize that the story has already chosen you. And this is why you feel out of sorts, because you are not trying to break into that life that is really calling to you. You're trying to push it down, push it aside, play small, stay stuck or stagnant. And the thing that you really want to do is figure out what is the story you should be telling, and then tell that story. Tell that story with your life. Okay. And then our final session is breaking out of your box. And, one of the things that we know about life, and I think is an abundantly clear these last few years is that whatever life we're leading, whoever we are, wherever we come from, people are always trying to put you in a box and categorize you and say, this is who you should be because you're a what? Because you're a woman, because you're a black woman, because you're a New Yorker, these are all things that right? Or, you come from this kind of family, and in this family, you know, um, we're the kind of family that does whatever, that, we laugh all the time when we should, take things more seriously, or we play pranks on people, or in this family, we show respect to the elders regardless of how horrible they are, whatever it is, right? All There are so many ways in which our family, our society, and even ourselves, we define ourselves by the box. And when we step out of that box, we feel so uncomfortable, and we'll do anything. We'll get rid of any part of ourselves just so that we can feel comfortable in the space that we're occupying. And what we do in this session is we go back to who we were as children and remember all the different ways that we got squished down, that we were made to dissociate ourselves from who we truly are. Because maybe you were too, loud, too rambunctious. You had too much energy as a child, and all you got told was, children should be seen and not heard, or, I don't want to, hear all your fanciful stories. That's one of the things that creative people hear all the time, is that you're just making up stories. You're talking about this. You have too much imagination. Get with the real world, okay? And the real world, I've come to a point where I am not really too worried about the real world anymore, because the real world is crap. So I've decided to go back to a point where I was in childhood, and just be completely delusional about what I should be doing, what I can create in my own life, and what I should be helping other people do, and forget the real world. Because if you pay too much attention to what other people say, what other people tell you should be doing, what other people say is impossible, right? What is that saying? It's always impossible until it's done, right? So this is where we focus our energy in the third week. As I said, it's a 3-week program, 21 days. And during the 21 days, you will also be receiving a creativity manual that has writing prompts, or I should say response prompts, for the 21 days. And this is really helping you to explore different aspects of your creativity over those 21 days. So not only do you have three, I think they're about 30 or 40-minute, I hate to call them lectures, but information sessions that go with each one. You also have one that talks about the specific intuitive center that goes along with each different topic. Then you have the journaling prompts that go along with each one, so that you really have a rich, and there's also a video for each one. So it's also a very rich program for the 3 weeks. So here we go. For each topic, you will receive, this is what I was just talking about. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Introductory audio to open the topic, a meditation, movement, and other practices to explore each energy center, worksheets and other activities to further explore your creativity. And you'll also receive the 21-day art and creativity journal with daily prompts to respond to either through art, writing, or some other means. However you wish to respond to the prompts, that's what you do. Okay? And as I said, it's called Cracking the Creativity Code. It's usually $97 for now. It is $47 if you want to sign up now. I will put in the video here and in the chat from the um, Zoom, the link that you can go to sign up for the program. Or if you wanted to, I think we can do that. Will that work? Woohoo. It's voight. It voight. So here we go. This is the link that you can go to. And I'm going to put that in the Zoom right now. And as you see, you can check out the page and let me know if you would like to join the program. We'll get you signed up. It's $47 for the next 3 weeks. So if that sounds like something that you'd like to participate in, please let me know. So let me see if I can get back to the Zoom meeting. I'm going to stop sharing for now. Here we go. So I'm going to put in the chat. Okay. And I will put in the Facebook group in just a minute. Okay. Beautiful. So I'm hoping that some of you would like to at least explore that program and see if that's something for you. Okay. So, goddesses, we are now at the end of our program. We ended a little bit early because we were not able to do some of the work in the Zoom room. But if anyone's interested in finding out more about creativity and how that can work for you, please join my Facebook group, Awakening Your Inner Goddess. I also have another group, which is Conscious Creatrix Circle, which you can also join, but that's more for our holistic businesses to work together to advance our businesses. And I also have one final group called the Radiant Womb, which you can find here on Facebook as well, which is the house of more of these kinds of videos. It really is more about my YouTube channel. So we are now at the end of our time together. I have really enjoyed being with you. I hope you've gotten all you can from our time together. And I just really want to remind you that creativity is not just what you do, it's who you are. It's your divine inheritance, your sacred fire, and your feminine essence made visible. So I would like to end with one final mantra for today. If you want to say it with me, I hope you will. And we're going to repeat this out loud. I am a creatrix. I am elemental. I am infinite. I am a creatrix. I am elemental. I am infinite. I am a creatrix. I am eternal. I am elemental. I am infinite. And I'm eternal also. I don't know why I wouldn't say that. But I thank you so much. If anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free to share. And if not, please see me in one of my Facebook groups or on my page here. And I will talk to you soon. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.